Hello everyone, this is Sexen and welcome to today's video. In this video, we will discuss the topic of full stack development and how can you get started as a full stack developer. First, full stack refers to two things: the front end of an application or the user interface, and the back end of an application or the server side. Now you can guess what is a full stack developer. It's a developer who works on the front end and the back end of an application. That's why we will discuss both front end and back end in this video and what you really need to know about each one. I did a separate video about the front and the back end, so make sure to check them out after this video. The front end is the development of the graphical user interface. When you click a website's link, you will go to the website, navigate through it, click some buttons and interact with the browser. Well, that is all front end. A front end developer should know three basic languages: HTML or hypertext markup language. It's basically the structure of a web page. It allows you to write text, insert images, hypertext, lists, and so on. We use tags to define each element like a paragraph or an image. CSS or cascading style sheet, it's a styling language used to style a website. It is linked with your HTML file. We can color a text, resize an image, and change the position of any elements. JavaScript or JS is a scripting language used to make websites more interactive or more dynamic. Little example. We use the button tag to add a button on our web page. With CSS, I could style it, add some colors, resize it, and more. But with JS or JavaScript, I could make it more interactive, add clicking sounds and effects. I need to tell you something about CSS, which is currently at version 3, and some browsers don't support its features. That is why we use CSS preprocessors like Sass and Stylus to convert old CSS code to code that is readable by all browsers. Don't worry, at least know one of those languages. In fact, Sass is the most popular, so start with Sass if you want. We have the same issue with JavaScript. So what developers do is they use TypeScript, that is a superset of JavaScript that can manage large-scale JS projects. Now we will talk about frameworks, and they are a set of tools which allows you to build well-structured and reliable software and systems. The most popular framework is React.js, built by Facebook and used to create Facebook and Instagram. React allows the developer to create large web applications that can change data without reloading a page. React is fast and scalable, as well as simple and easy to learn. Next, you need to know about version control system, which allows you to have two source code with you, the official version on the browser and on your computer. Git is the most popular version control system, so take some time mastering Git. These might seem a lot to do, but let me give you a to-do list to help you start. Always start with the basics, like HTML, then go to CSS, and then go to JS. Then you need to learn a framework like React.js. There is more actually, like Angular and Vue. Next, learn a version control system like Git, and then learn Sass, then go to TypeScript. Those skills will not appear overnight. You need to put in the work, and there is no shortcut. Let's go to the backend side now. The backend refers to the server side of an application, where we have servers and databases that stores users' information. The backend allows the communication between the database and the browser. A simple scenario: the user submits a form. What happens now is that the browser connects to a web server, which is a piece of hardware or software that provides functionalities to the program. So now the server receives the request of the user and now should return an output. What the backend developer do is they store the user's data in a database that receives and gives data back to the web browser, which will display information for the user. Here are the responsibilities of a backend developer. First, storing users' data in a secure way and making sure that only this user can access it. Securing payment that might occur with the user purchasing online products. And API or application programming interface, which allows two applications to talk to each other, like what you're doing now, watching this video displayed by YouTube on the YouTube website. The backend consists of three parts: server, application, and database. I want to list you some server software: Apache, Microsoft Internet Information Service, and LightTPD server. Definitely, you don't need to know all of them, at least one, and they actually work the same. Before the user's request travels to the database, the server sends it to the framework, which will allow the developer to manage requests. Let me now offer you programming languages with their associated frameworks. We have JavaScript, who is used both in the front and the backend, with its associated frameworks Node.js and Express.js. Next we have Java, an object-oriented programming language with its associated framework Spring, the famous Python, which is the easiest and the most popular programming language, with its associated frameworks Django and Flask. We have C#, built by Microsoft, and it uses ASP.NET Core and ASP.NET MVC as its frameworks. After passing on a framework, it goes to an object relational mapping to connect with the database. The ORM is responsible of converting data from the database to objects, but usually in the backend, we use structured query language or SQL to manage and receive data. The ORM writes most of the data received to structured queries and send them to the database, but it is crucial for the developer to also know how to write their own queries. Most popular languages used is MySQL and PostgreSQL. Now, as a full-stack developer, you know the front end, which you have knowledge on HTML, and that is good because as a backend developer, you need to know HTML to be able to update the browser with new features. We also spoke about Git, a version control system to have two versions running on the browser and on your PC. Well, you need to know Git. This is what's happening in the backend. User inserts data, and then the browser connects to web server and sends user requests to the web server. Then that web server sends requests to a framework. Then that framework sends it to an ORM, which will send it to a database that will manage it and then give it back to the ORM. After that, the data goes back to the web server and then to the browser to display the features to the user. What to learn to start on backend? Know the basics, HTML, CSS, and JS. Familiarize yourself with server software. Then learn a framework, like for Python, go for the Django, let's say. Then learn MySQL or PostgreSQL, and then go for Git. Now, as a full-stack developer, it might seem a lot to know, but eventually, that's the job of a full-stack developer. But now, if you didn't like the full-stack development, you have the choice to choose between front-end and back-end, because I explained to you front and back-end, and I guess right now, you should have a clear understanding of them. Now, I would love to know what you will choose, front, back-end, or full-stack. Comment down below. And for those who are planning to go either front or back end, click on the corresponding end screen that will take you to what you want.